Welcome back to Kyle's Financial News. My name is Kyle. Today's date is July 10th, 2024. Market performance today was just fantastic. Indexes were on an absolute tear. The S&P 500 closed today plus over 1%. The Dow Jones was up over 400 points in this session. July's performance is now about 2.7.5% for the S&P 500, very quickly approaching that 4% goal for July that I've been talking about in previous videos. Super excited to see if that actually comes to fruition here in the next week or so. Supposedly, I was reading that the third week in July is a little bit counter to the whole boom in July narrative. So we will see if that ends up being true as well. So far in the previous 12 months or so, some of the expectations about certain seasonalities have not been holding true. So I'm a little bit surprised that come July, now suddenly this is kind of going as planned. So I'm seeing a little bit of discussion on the web about kind of what this performance is being attributed to. Originally, I was discussing how it is just kind of a rotating of funds, and it's the half year, it's the end of the second quarter, it's just when a lot of money is moving around in markets and being introduced to markets. But there is a lot of theories around the Federal Reserve and interest rates and whether or not at this upcoming meeting at the end of the month, if interest rates are going to be lowered or if they're going to stay the same. And there's even a little bit of rumor that there might be a hike. Now, I'm not quite on board with the thesis that we are going to continue hiking just yet because unemployment is going up, inflation is maintaining pretty steady, and if not coming a little bit down. So the data is positive in the Fed's narrative of trying to fight it and get back down to that 2% annual target. But we just had Jerome Powell's semi-annual testimony where he kind of goes over some more detailed specifics about kind of where the economy has been going over the previous couple months and meetings and where it might be headed. And again, he was very resistant to any sort of questioning or discussion about when can we start expecting interest rates to be lowered. Is it going to be this meeting or the next meeting? How many will there be in the remaining of 2024? How many will there be in 2025? Are we done talking about hiking, and is inflation truly on a regressionary path back to the 2% annual target? He was not wanting to definitively say. In fact, he even at one point said that rate hikes were not off the table. And it's that type of kind of vague language towards the fight against inflation at the moment that really, I think, just causes uncertainty with a lot of traders. But that's not stopping market participants and chat rooms and such that I'm seeing of expecting that rate lowering events are imminent and in the near future. But until we continue to get data that reflects that, then we will just have to hold tight for that until then. Now, with unemployment ticking up a little bit more each report, that is positive. And if unemployment really starts to climb quickly, such as seeing we're at 4.1% now, such as seeing maybe on the next report it jumps 0.2% or 0.3% or more than forecasted, by a significant amount, then that might be some room for argument to suggest that a rate lowering is nearer than further. But if unemployment ticks the other way and starts to head back down, then possibly, although I think somewhat unlikely, a rate hike might entirely be coming up again in the future. But that's the slow game. We keep talking about the Fed, and I just try to stay as attentive to kind of their direction as possible. So more videos to come on that soon. Tesla stock is on an absolute tear as well. It is up for over 10 days in a row now. Today it took a little bit of a kind of a backseat, going a little bit sideways, all the way from 180 per share or so, all the way up to well into the 200s, 240, 250, 260. But are they in for some headwinds coming up here? What is coming in their future? That is still to be announced and to be decided. Supposedly Elon is set to be releasing news about some self-driving taxi-esque Tesla vehicles in the future. And supposedly there is also plans to be coming out with this fancy AI robot that we keep seeing on stage at the occasional special Tesla events. But just look at past announcements and their deadlines. Self-driving was supposed to be a completed project nearly half a decade ago, around 2020. And granted, there was COVID and all that certainly threw a wrench into plans as well. But even the Cybertruck ended up being way overdue when it comes to actual delivery. Not to mention, it's not even the same vehicle that was originally advertised in terms of size and capability. Originally, Cybertruck pre-orders were being accepted from Europe, but pretty quickly those were being rejected and denied. And as it stands today, there is no plan to have the Cybertruck released in Europe, even with there being production capabilities in their region with the Berlin Gigafactory completed somewhat recently. Now, Elon has rumored, or at least maybe hinted at, there might be a possibility of a smaller size Cybertruck in the future for European customers, but no more details on that. So why is it not being released in Europe though, you might ask? You can get it in Canada, you can get it in Mexico, you can get it in the United States obviously, but why not Europe? And the main reason for that is because to drive a vehicle that weighs more than 3.5 tons in Europe, or about 7,000 pounds, you have to have a category C1 license. Now in the USA, you only need a CDL or a commercial driver's license if the vehicle can carry 16 passengers or more, and if the truck and trailer combined exceed 26,000 pounds. A Cybertruck, fresh out of the factory, weighs a bit over 6,600 pounds, and just by having 2 adults in the front seats, that might already be over the 7,000 pound limit. Now, Tesla is currently trading at 67 times their price to earnings, and their forward-looking price to earnings is even more than that. They are selling a lot of cars, yes, and so far the Cybertrucks do seem to be popular, aside from a few first model type issues and recalls. Elon has a goal of manufacturing and selling 250,000 Cybertrucks a year, and he has a long way to go to that goal. Now, what we do know is that due to recalls and associated data, 11,500 trucks have officially been sold as of June 26th. Now, that's after 6 months of deliveries taking place, about 1,950 trucks per month, about 65 trucks a day. And I detailed down to the day because it is Elon's goal that he said himself to have the Cybertruck and possibly future other truck models, but all being produced by Tesla, replace the over 6,500 fossil fueled powered trucks sold per day in the United States as it stands. Yeah, no, that's no big deal. We're only talking about needing to 100x current production. When it comes to Tesla stock price performance, I really don't want to speculate much. There's enough diehard fans of Tesla out there that at times the stock trades a little bit more like GameStop than a technology or a car company. If production can really start to ramp up hard and sales increase, and that 6,500 trucks per day goal becomes even slightly visible in the distance, sure, I suppose ridiculous price to earnings would make more sense. But that's not even taking into account all the other EV trucks that competitors are starting to come out with of their own. How much market share will they be able to preserve within their own respective brands that people already love and stick with? Only time will tell on that one. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. Leave a comment down below if you have a Tesla or want a Cybertruck or are looking to get into the Tesla realm. And I will see you in the next video.